Hello. So the next part of the video is the core of an embedded system. Okay, so those who know that in the last video we have covered about the elements of embedded system. So now we are going to cover about the core of an embedded system. So normally the core of an embedded system uh, are domain and application specific, right? Are domain and application specific and built around a central core, right? So they will be having a built around the central core. The core of the embedded system falls into any of the following categories. Those categories are general purpose and domain specific. And second one is application specific integrated circuits. So they are called as ASICs. And third one is PLDs, that is programmable logic devices, that is called as PLDs. And fourth one is commercial off the shelf components. In short, they have been called as COTS. Correct? In short, they have been called as COTS. So in that, first we are going to cover about general purpose and domain specific. So in that we are having a microprocessor versus microcontrollers, right? So what is microprocessor? Microprocessor is nothing but a silicon chip representing a central processing unit, which is nothing but CPU, which is capable of performing arithmetic as well as the logical operations according to a predefined instruction set of instructions. That's what is microprocessor. What do you mean by microcontroller? A microcontroller is the one which is having CPU, which is having RAM, which is having ROM, which is having flash memory, and then IO ports and everything, and timer. Everything, whatever it has, it's called as a microprocessor, microcontroller. It is dependent in it. Why it is dependent in it? Because it is alone. It has to need the help of the RAM, ROM, and also that's why it is dependent. Whereas our microcontroller, it's a self-dependent. That means what? It doesn't need any help. Okay, most of the time the general purpose in design and operation, right? So microprocessor is general purpose, whereas over here microcontrollers are application oriented or domain specific, right? So these are application oriented or domain specific only, and doesn't contain a built-in IO port. The IO port functionally needs to be implemented with the help of external programmable peripheral, right? Chips like 8255. So this doesn't contain any IO port, so you need to build it with the help of 8255. Whereas in microcontroller, it is there, okay, IO ports is inbuilt, so it will be having either 8, 16 or 32-bit port or as individual port pins. It is the microprocessor is targeted for high-end market where performance is important, whereas over here it is targeted embedded market where the performance is not at all critical, right? So limited power saving options will be there, whereas over here lots of power saving operations are there in microcontroller. Then we are having CISC and RISC. In the CISC, there are less number of instructions are there, whereas in the CISC, okay, there are more number of instructions are there. In RISC, instruction pipelining and increased execution speed is there, whereas in CISC, okay, there is no pipelining option is there. This feature we have to note it down, right? So that is in CISC, we don't have any pipelining option. We don't have any pipelining option in CISC, whereas in RISC, we have pipelining option. So it is orthogonal instruction set. It means what? It allows each instruction to operate on any register and use of any addressing mode. Whereas over here it is non-orthogonal instruction set. That means what? It is allowed to operate only on register. Operations are performed on registers only, whereas over here operations are performed on registers, memory, etc. A large number of registers are available, whereas over here a simple limited number of registers are available. Programmer needs to write more code to execute a task, whereas over here programmer, as the instructions will be complex, so the length of the code is shorter, and over here it will be single and fixed length instructions are there, and over here variable length instructions are there. Over here less silicon usage and pin count, whereas over here the silicon usage is more. This is implemented with Harvard architecture, and this is implemented with Harvard or Von Neumann architecture. Then over here we should know what do you mean by Harvard and Von Neumann architecture. So in Harvard architecture, these will be having a separate buses for instruction and data fetching. Whereas over here, the single shared bus is there for instruction and data fetching. It is easier to pipeline, so high performance can be achieved. Okay, so the performance as compared to Harvard is less because here the pipelining concept is very difficult in Von Neumann. Comparatively high cost because the there are separate buses are used, so that's why there is a comparatively high cost, whereas over here it is cheaper. No memory alignment problems will be there because the memory part will be separate, whereas over here there are some problems with the memory. Since the data memory and the program memory are stored physically in different locations, no chances of accidental corruption is there. Whereas over here they are used in the same memory, so there is accidental corruption is possible. Then we are having the NDNS. What do you mean by NDNS? NDNS is nothing but the order in which the data is stored in the memory. Okay, it is nothing but NDNS. So we are having higher order data bit. Okay, then we are having way over here we are having little endian and big endian. In little endian, what will happen? In little endian, suppose if you are having a 8-bit data series. Okay, if you are having a 8-bit data series like this, 8-bit data series like this. Okay, because we should consider 1 byte data, correct? We should consider 1 byte data. So suppose if I consider this one is the first data and this one is the second data, right? This one is the LSB and this one is, we can consider it to be as MSB, that means higher bit. If the lower bit stores in a lower address byte of the memory, and if the higher bit stores in a higher address byte of a memory, then it is called as little endian. If the reverse happens, that means if the lower byte gets stored in a higher address memory, and then if the higher byte gets stored in a okay, in byte 3, then it is called as what? Big endian. Right? Then we are having two purposes. One is load store operation is there. So these are normally related with the memory access. Load is used to take the data from the memory, and store is used to for putting the data into the memory. Then we are having ASIC. ASIC is what? It is nothing but application specific integrated circuits. So first of all, it is a microchip designed for specific or unique application. ASIC is what? It's a microchip designed for specific or unique application. It is used as a replacement to conventional general purpose logic chips. Okay, it consumes very small area and the total system. Helps to design a smaller systems with high capabilities and functionalities. Okay, it integrates several functions into a single chip by reducing the system development cost. Most of the ASICs are proprietary products. Then we are having PLDs. Okay, so these are considered as logic devices. Okay, so they have been as a fixed and programmable. Okay. Then we are having commercial off the shelf cards, which is nothing components, which is nothing but cards. Okay, so what I mean by cards? These are designed to provide easy integration and interoperability with the existing system components. Okay, then we are having these cards are general purpose, then application specific, and then PLDs and all. So typical example is car toy, wherein we are going to use the RF, and then we are going to use the high frequency microwave electronics, then bandwidth, and then UV and all. Okay. So this is what the core of an embedded system means a lot.